Hey everybody, it's me again. I'm back, and this time with Chapter 2, getting back into the chronological order of things. No more jumping 1 to 5, I just wanted to get that out there. I finished Chapter 2's rewrite last night. I wasn't quite happy as I was going over it with what I had. So I spent from about 1 in the morning until 6:30, 7 this morning finishing it up. I'm really pleased with what I have, and I'm hoping everybody who hears it and hopefully comes to read it is as well. Don't forget, after this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. The more views I get, the better the chance. So, here we go. For all those who've been waiting, Chapter 2. For me, every morning is the same anymore, beginning with waking up to the sound of my aunt calling me for breakfast. To avoid questions, I take my shower before heading down, washing away the nightmare-induced sweat. Ghostly images appear around me, in the mirrors, my window, even the water flowing from the sink as I brush my teeth, always there to remind me of the dream. At first, the images were frightening, but after months of talking with my school counselor, I realized they were a good thing, the only thing I had left of my mother. After some time, the waking dream I seemed to be stuck in became less of a burden and more of another part of my daily routine. Looking into the mirror, I smiled as my mother stood by my reflection, smiling like a gentle angel watching over its charge. My Aunt Rena sips her orange juice, her iPod still blasting in her ears as she recovers from her morning run. My Uncle Andrew always called Rena his queen, often comparing her to an Amazon princess. Standing at least 6 feet tall, my aunt was the envy of all the adults in our neighborhood. All the men wanted to be with her, and all the women wanted to be her. Unfortunately for these men, my aunt was quite happy being Mrs. Andrew Mercer. Her hair long and golden, and her eyes as blue as any ocean. Her looks were quite deceiving, because under that warm smile and welcoming eyes was the heart of a lioness. As I sat in my usual spot at the kitchen buffet counter, my cousin Alex gave me a wink, his way of letting me know he was ready to ditch the whole grains his mother makes of meat and make a run for the door. My uncle grins as my aunt turns away for a moment, long enough for him to slip $20 into my coat pocket and for Alex and I to make our escape. Knowing that eventually she would stop chasing us, we quickened our pace until we could slip into an alley almost 2 blocks away. This morning was different for some reason. There was an unusually cold chill in the air. Alex and I waited a few more minutes until we both felt the sharp slap of hands on the backs of our necks. Quickly turning, I dodged a low blow, and Alex began pelting our attacker with snowballs. Raising his hands in surrender, a grin crossed my best friend Drake's lips, which quickly turned into a look of agony as Alex lobbed one final snowball at him, hitting him directly in his groin. Drake fell to his knees as my 12-year-old cousin tried hiding behind me, knowing revenge would be swift. Just as vengeance was about to be dealt for the crotch shot, all three of us stopped dead in our tracks as we heard the sound of a wrench drop to the pavement near us. Our skin pricked as we heard a man shout, "Can't you kids show some damned courtesy and shut the hell up? Some people have jobs to do, and your noise is making it pretty damned hard to concentrate." The figure shouting came, excuse me people, the voice shouting came from the scariest person in our neighborhood, Slade Wolf. Nobody knew what it was he did for a living, but each of us knew when he came near us, our asses clenched. Slade Wolf wasn't your ordinary neighbor and didn't just sound scary, he looked it as well. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall at least, and built like an MMA fighter, his hair like a platinum blonde, and the right side of his face covered by an intricate tribal spiderweb tattoo, he made for an intimidating figure. My aunt often joked that he'd clean up well if he wanted to. As he approached the three of us, his demeanor changed as he said, "Jonathan and Drake, right?" Shocked that he knew our names, I replied, yeah, how do you know our names? His perfect teeth gleamed as white as his skin, saying, "Boys, you come down this alley every day, and I'm working in my garage every day. I do have ears, big ones at that, the better to hear you with." Not knowing whether or not he was angry, I could see Drake and Alex preparing to run. Shaking his head, Slade went on saying, "Listen, boys, I know I look scary and all kinds of crazy." Chuckling at his own words, he continued, "I have tats, piercings all over, and some of my friends you've seen with me look twice as scary as me." Pausing to wipe grease from his hands with the rag he carried, his face grew serious as he said, "It's not the guys like me you have to worry about. It's the normal-looking ones who usually have the bodies stuffed in their walls." Nervously I asked, "Is it true you know my aunt and uncle?" A smile showed on his face as he answered, "Rena, Andrew and I go way back. We used to run in the same circles." Checking his watch, he looked at the three of us, saying, "If you boys don't hurry, you'll end up running together in detention." With that, we began our walk back to school on what would be the first in a series of bad days. Alex was the unluckiest of the three of us. Drake and I had to be in high school. Because of his unusually high intelligence, Alex had no choice but to go to high school. Being just a kid, Drake and I knew we had to look out for him at school. We knew how cruel kids our own age could be. It was Alex who saw it first and got our attention right away. There in the parking lot of the school was Mel, a girl Drake and myself had known since preschool, being shoved and yelled at by her boyfriend Lance. Mel was a self-proclaimed punk with pink streaks in her hair, denim skirt, and a Misfits patch sewn into a tattered jean jacket. Lance, on the other hand, was a prick. 18 years old, looking like he belonged in jail. He was also a known drug dealer. His love of violence went hand in hand with his selling of crystal meth and ecstasy. Angered by what was happening and how nobody was trying to help, I felt my heart begin to race. It was as if instinct took over, charging at him like an enraged bull, only to be knocked to the ground, my nose bleeding from his rabbit punch. I could see his face twisting with anger as he looked down on me, saying, "You might want to start praying now, Johnny, 'cause you're dead." I watched in horror as a switchblade slid into his palm from his coat sleeve. My head began to swim with images, and I began to feel dizzy. Before I knew what was happening, I found myself back on my feet, grabbing Lance's arm, spinning him toward me. "Damn it, Drake," I thought to myself as he jumped on Lance's back, trying to put him in a chokehold. "You're gonna get yourself killed." Trying to land a punch on Drake, I heard my friend laugh maniacally as he threw his head back, dodging the blow, causing Lance to hit his own neck. With a taunting voice, he shouted in Lance's ear, "Why you hitting yourself?" Furiously, Lance slammed himself backward against his car trunk, crushing Drake in the process, forcing him to let go. All I saw around us were students with cell phones in hand, recording and texting. I fell again as Lance began to punch me over and over again. My vision began to grow dark as I began to slip into unconsciousness. The shouts grew more distant with each blow until I blacked out. The dream again, only this time different, more intense. She spoke to me. My mother's voice was filled with fire as she took my hand, lifting me to my feet. "You can't sleep now, Jonathan. You have to get up." I stared into the eyes of the mother I never knew as tears began filling my eyes. "I can't get up, Mom. He's just going to keep hitting me." Pain filled my voice, mixing with fear as I spoke to her. "He's too tough. He'll kill me." She smiled as she said, "If he hates you, then smile. If he hits you, then hug him. If he hurts you, then make him feel your pain. But you have to get up." As she shouted those last words to me, my eyes opened, and I knew what I had to do. I had to get up. I looked around, anger rising within me now. Drake, now on the ground, bleeding from his mouth and nose. I wondered angrily, how many times did he hit you? There he was, pointing his knife at Mel, whose eye was much darker than before. I felt my fists clench shut as I said coldly to him, "Hey, Dusthead, I don't think we're done here yet." That's the look, the one you never forget, as he turned to face me. I saw nothing good in his eyes, just hate. This was my first real glimpse of evil. I began to feel hot all over as he swung the knife at me. Everything seemed to slow as the blade drew close to me, and I let my body respond in kind. I began by punching his wrist, causing him to drop the switchblade, and followed through with a kick to his stomach. Dazed for a moment, I took advantage, landing a punch to his left temple, sending him into a spin as I landed a solid kick to his face, feeling his nose break with the force of the blow. I stood there watching as he dropped to the ground unconscious. My chest heaved as the flow of adrenaline slowed, and I watched as Drake forced himself back to his feet. Mel stood there, shocked and frightened, unsure what to do, until she felt Drake's arm wrap around her shoulder. Even now he grinned, looking to me saying, "Come on, let's get you two to the nurse. You look like hell." Blood still ran from his nose as he began walking Mel and I into the school. Pausing for a moment, he said to us, "Wait here a second, okay?" Walking back to where Lance lay, he picked up the switchblade, staring at it for a moment, before thrusting the blade into the rear driver's side tire of Lance's car. He rose quickly, catching up with us. He once again placed his arms around Mel and I, leading us into the school. That was Chapter 2. I hope you guys enjoy it. Chapter 3 will most likely be up tomorrow, possibly the day after at the latest. I'm going to try and do a revision on it tonight sometime. I really hope that you guys like it, and make sure to let me know by leaving your comments down below. If you're at all curious about Slade Wolf, what he looks like, anything of the sort, again, check out Raziel Tempest on YouTube. He has my concept art up there. He's the one who's helping me envision all of this, so I got to give a shout out to him. The only other shout outs I want to give out right now, G-Code, a few of the others on there, you know who you are. Make sure you keep subscribing, keep clicking, keep watching, and make sure to check out the other videos on the channel as well while you're at it. Got some pretty funny ones up there as well, including my girlfriend beating the cinnamon challenge. I mean, effortlessly, under 2 minutes. I couldn't have done it. So, to end this, before I end up going on one of my many, many rants I'm known for, I will say adios, vaya con Dios, and all that good stuff. Take care, enjoy what you've been reading, and enjoy what you've been read. See ya.